Hi, grant writing peeps. Exciting times in English 4321 grant writing, week 5 here in the spring of 2023. Hey, big news. We've got our funders. One team has Bank of America, and the other team has Earl Sam's Foundations. Now, just a little bit about how this is going to work. Both of these grants require forms. The Earl Sam's Foundation is an actual form that we fill out. The Bank of America Foundation is an online form, which we can't access individually as a group because we're not the food bank. But what I did was for the Bank of America people, I went in and I looked at the form, I cut and pasted it into a Word document, and then that's there available. So part of our reading this week is just to read what is available for your team, the funding criteria, because remember, grant writing is largely doing homework. You're given a set of criteria. This is what we want, and you try to match what they want as closely and as exactly as possible in the form that they want it in. So we're actually going to kind of do two things. We're going to actually write what I call a simple format grant, which is like what our kitchen captain what grant was that we looked at last week as well. And that's a standard grant format that if you write it, you're going to have all the data you need for almost any kind of grant application. And that's really useful to have all in one document to include your professional portfolio. So each team is going to write a simple format grant like that. And you're not going to write the whole thing. Your team is going to do certain parts of it, but each of you all need to put it together and put it in one document as part of your portfolio for the class. So later, when you're applying for jobs or trying to demonstrate that you got grant writing experience, you can just pull that out and say, here's a grant I was part of. So we're going to do the simple format grant, and then each team is going to fill out, working with the quarterback, the forms that go with that particular grant, which should be pretty quickly because you should have done most of the work by doing the writing. And remember, the team's going to do that. The quarterback's going to coordinate that, but that doesn't mean she should do that whole work. So again, big news. We have our funders. This is earlier than most grant writing classes have their funders, in my experience. So it's good news. I feel like you're ahead of the curve. And again, one team has Earl Sam's, the other team has Bank of America. Good stuff. So that's one bit of good news. In terms of what we're learning new about grant writing, we're learning about goals and objectives. I don't want to steal too much thunder before you do the reading, but I want to just turn back very briefly to what we've been talking about. There's this logic to grant writing. You have a problem in the community, protein, energy malnutrition, or micronutrient malnutrition in elderly people because of a lack of food access in rural areas. And so you demonstrate what that need is. And you guys did a great job last week of coming up with all this kinds of research in your Tuesday work. You looked at poverty, you looked at income, you looked at problems facing the elderly, you looked at food deserts and lack of access in a big bunch of South Texas as well. You looked at the negative health outcomes associated with not getting fruits and vegetables adequately, which is what we call micronutrient malnutrition. And you look at the health cost, the diabetes, the heart disease, the cancer. And I hate to lift those off like that, but it's what happens. So you've got this need. Part one, you got a project. Food Bank has this project, which is, mobile pantry program, rural delivery program, in which they access fruits and vegetables, they take it to the food bank, and they distribute it out to these elderly clients in the rural areas. So you got the problem, but broadly speaking, rural elderly can't access the right kinds of healthy food, particularly fruits and vegetables. You got a project that will get that food to them, project description, and then you got goals and objectives, and then later the evaluation. So what goals and objectives do is they show you operationally, specifically how this program is going to meet that need. as well. It's operationalizing the program description essentially. So a goal is broad, probably unattainable, but it implies movement in a positive direction. It generally begins with some kind of verb that implies action. We want to increase food distribution or increase produce description. We want to reduce micronutrient malnutrition as well. So you see how those are big things beginning with a positive verb that implies movement in the right direction as well. They're broad, and then objectives are, well, SMART, which is from the reading, which is specific, measurable, attainable, et cetera, time bound, I'm not going to go through the whole reading with you as well, but so they're going to be like, and again, I'm not trying to do this for you because one, your group needs to come up with these on their own, and two, they've got to be in consultation with Robert. So it might be, but they need to be measurable. So we could increase the number of clients served. It could be increase the number of pounds served. It could be increase the number of deliveries made that include produce. And again, you'll need to consult with Robert. So, but you get the idea. We're going to increase the distribution of produce or whatever y'all come up with. And so that's the goal. The objective, which is specific, time bound and attainable, measurable, is going to be, we're going to by X date within 6 months of funding or within the next year or within this time frame, we will do something, which is, again, it would be just based on what we've been learning, more food measured by pounds, more people reached, more deliveries, or something like that. So, and then evaluation, which Group C is going to come up with next week, is going to, okay, how are we going to report this? How are we going to measure this? So if we say, and again, I'm not saying this is our goal and objective, we want to increase rural food distribution to the elderly. And our objective is within 6 months of receipt of funding, we will have increased the amount of produce distributed by 10,000 pounds. And I just pulled that number out of my head. I have no idea if it's realistic or the right number or whatever. Or we will have ensured that at least 30 more or 20 more sites have regular produce distribution. Or we will ensure that 40 more families will have received a regular supply of produce, fruits and vegetables or whatever. That's our objective. Our goal would be to see what we did. So during this time frame, we delivered this many meals. Before the program was this many meals. This is an increase or a decrease or whatever. So, and evaluations, we do our best. Remember that you're never going to hit it exactly. If you see a grant, our goal is this, and we hit it this, probably somebody's cooking the books, because we're never going to hit those evaluation targets exactly, but you're going to come close. So we've got our funding source, we've got our goals and objective, and we've got this week's work. Now this week, our first group, Group A, I'm going to look at my notes here, is going to finish the project description. It's going to be printed, it's going to be done, it's going to be a goal. And if you look in the reading, the goal is to actually meet with me at some point during the week so we can go over the project description and I can give you feedback and suggestions and things like that. Group B is going to go over the needs statement. Again, meet with me this week to go over the needs statement for Creeks. And for groups A and B, both have that pretty well done into your quarterback by Friday. Group C is going to develop the goals and objectives. This is the group that's been in the sidelines a little bit. So remember I said we'd each be doing different things different times. So they're going to meet with me and develop those goals and objectives, but these have to be approved by Robert. We can't just make up stuff that the food bank's going to do. So we come up with some ideas, some draft ideas, get them to Robert, get his feedback, get them done, and then get those turned in, or at least drafts of those turned in to the quarterback by Friday as well. So the only other thing I'll say is I'm traveling this week. That doesn't mean I won't be available to work, because I'm always there, and I'll be, anywhere in the United States. I'll have access to internet and my computer and things like that, so I can meet at times that are convenient to you. But y'all need to decide pretty early in the week when it is you need with me, so I can make sure we're able to fit in those times where I can meet with teams green and blue, both groups A, B, and C. So it's good stuff. I'm meeting with people and they're saying, I don't know what's going on. I'm a little frustrated, I'm a little bit lost. And I don't want to say it's okay to be frustrated and lost, because it's not, but it's normal. You're doing a kind of writing you've never done before, and you're one small part of a big picture. But I promise you, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at all this work coming in, and all the stuff is falling into place that I know you're going to create a good grant application. So I thank you for your time. And I really look forward to meeting with y'all this week and seeing what you come up with. So y'all, yes, I am from Texas. Y'all have a good week, and I look forward to seeing you at some point to discuss your projects. So thanks.